Hi Tarot friends, it's Jade here with Tarot Your Truth, and I am back with another deck walkthrough. This time we are going to be looking at the Herbcrafters Tarot, and this came out in about July of 2019. It is by Letitia Guthrie with artwork by Joanna Powell Colbert. This is what the backs of the cards look like. Beautiful. Absolutely love it. Before we go through the cards, let's just look at the booklet. This deck has really impressed me, and I'm actually a little glad that my initial walkthrough that I did when I first got this deck didn't work out. So it was before I got a microphone, and the sound was awful, so I just never uploaded it. And I'm kind of glad because it's given me a chance to work with this deck a little bit and get to know it a little bit more. So I am super impressed about the thought and the work that went into this deck. If you have this deck, I'd be curious about your experiences. But a couple of things. So a few things, they have made some changes. So it does have 78 cards. And it does follow the standard tarot structure. However, one of the things they did was, in terms of the suits, we don't have the typical wands, swords, coins, or pentacles, and cups. Instead, they've reverted back to the elements. So earth, water, air, and fire. So that's the suits. And then in terms of, because again, this is the Herbcrafters, so every card has some sort of herb or plant on or flower kind of thing on it. They haven't just done that willy-nilly. They've put a ton of effort into an actual structure. So what they've done, just to show you, so all the aces show dooryard herbs and weeds, so things you'd want to plant near your front door. The twos are plants that attract pollinators or feed animal friends. The threes are plants that are easy to grow. The fours are plants used for borders and hedges. The fives are plants listed as endangered or threatened by United Plant Savers. The sixes are abundantly producing plants. The sevens are ancient trees. The eights are root medicine plants. The nines are fruit trees. The tens are cover crops and composting plants. So that's actually, this is awesome. It follows, it does kind of follow the numerology kind of thing. So for example, hedges and borders for number 4, like what perfect number would be for that. But also in terms of what would traditionally be the pages, knights, queens, and kings, those have also been changed. So instead of the pages, we have hias or daughters. The knights become adelitas or warriors. The queens become madres or mothers, and the kings become curanderas or healers. Sorry, that looks like it's out of focus. Sorry. Okay, that's better. And so they each have a gift to the Herbcrafter in the form of some sort of virtue. So for example, the hias or pages give playfulness, the adelitas give activism, the madres give love, and the curanderas give wisdom. So it's again just one more layer of things that they've added into this deck. They've just thought about every conceivable thing, in my opinion anyways. In terms of the cards themselves, they always start with a description of what follows. So in this case, the major arcana, and then you get a page per card, and what you get is the name of the card, the herb or plant that's on it, the scientific name, some keywords, I guess. Follow your dream seeds, just a quick key. The first paragraph will describe what is actually shown on the card. And what's shown on the card is not, so this isn't a pip deck, but it's also not a scenic deck. There aren't things actually happening. It tends to be, there may be a pair of hands and, a mill or grinding of something, but it's not a big scene. Then it gives you a little description of what the card is about. And then I love this part, which is crafting with that particular herb or plant and some of the things that you can do with that plant. So and they do that actually for every single card, including the minors. So for example, 6 of Earth, which would be 6 of Coins or 6 of Pentacles in an RWS deck. This is Pine. Gives you the keywords, what's shown on the card, what the card is about, and then crafting. So again, just things you can do, including rituals or teas or crafts that you can do with the cards. And so I love that. And part of what I've been doing is actually not using this as a regular tarot deck. I think you could. But instead, what I've chosen to do is really just take one card at a time and sort of just work with it for a week. Try to do some of these things, reflect on it, and I've been getting to know a lot of these things a lot better. At the back of the card, back of the book, sorry. Gives you some instructions on using the deck, or guidance, I guess. Drawing a card a day, answering some questions, how to connect with the herbs. It talks about reversals as well. It gives you a few spreads. And then I love this part. The next several pages are craft activities. So elixirs, honeys, oils, incense, teas, tinctures, vinegars, steams, scrubs, all sorts of crafts you can actually make. And it is actually the recipe for those things. So that is amazing. And then it gives you a little bit of info about the creators and a bibliography should you choose to look into more of these things. Okay, so there's about 120 pages or so. Love it. So let's look at the cards, shall we? Let's see if I can avoid the glare. Give me one sec here. Okay, there you go. That should be all right. The Fool, the Magician, High Priestess. I'll probably just put music over this. Cacao, love that. Strength, garlic. This card, I understand, caused a little bit of hubbub at first until people figured out sort of what was going on. But at first glance, cannabis, so first of all, cannabis as the Justice card is an interesting choice, but it looked like it was sitting on the Declaration of Independence for the United States, and many people got really upset about this because, you know, this document was sort of written on the backs of non-white ethnicities. And so how can that be justice? A lot of people actually suffered for it. So, but I understand that that has sort of been sorted out. And I do understand why they chose justice if you read the actual description in the book. Death. Devil, blackberry. The Tower. Oh, I had 2 cards out to the side, and so there is 17, the Star. There we go. And 18, the Moon. So what would typically be called Judgment is called the Awakening. The World. Okay, so now we get to the minors. So we're going to start with Air. A little hummingbird. I think it's a hummingbird. Ace of Fire. Oh, that actually brings another thing to mind. So the way that this deck is, I haven't reordered it. This is actually how it came, and that is, I actually love it. That is how the cards are set up in the books as well. So if you're looking for any of the 8s, you get a page about the numerology of the 8s, and then you get all 4 8s together. So I love that because you don't have to go searching for the suit in the book, and then the card, which sometimes can be frustrating. So more hummingbirds. Threes. Let's try to adjust the lighting. Not sure what that's all about. I'll have to read that. Oh. Okay, that's interesting. I hadn't noticed this before. So Earth has this little sign. Air. Fire. And water. I guess that's the... Yeah, that's the first time I've seen that. Interesting. Love ginger. So that is very cool, actually. One of the things I've been thinking about is possibly trimming this deck so that I can handle it a little bit easier with my hands. 9 of water, peach. So if I did that, I would have to write on the card, I guess, what the thing is. Or just rely on the book, I guess. but I would just have to write the number 10 because we have the symbol for the suit there. So I have to write number 10 and then what the plant or herb is. Catnip, poppy, chamomile, linden, oregano, go through a lot of that, love cayenne. Okay, so these ones, see if the other ones do as well. So it has the symbol for the suit. So in this case, the water is that squiggly line, and then an A, and I'm assuming the A stands for Adelitas. There is an H for Hias, and let's have a look. Yeah, so that's it so far. And then an M for Madre. Rosemary. Damiana. A C for curandera. And sweetgrass. Love it. I think my favorite card in this deck is this one here. The star. With the moon as a close follow-up. But this one here just speaks to me so much. Love it. Love the colors. Love what they've chosen. How they've chosen to show it. And so in terms of the cardstock, it's pretty decent. It's not the thinnest, not the thickest cardstock I've seen. But let's see if we can do a quick riffle shuffle, which I'm not very good at. Yeah, so the cards are not, they're sort of a semi-matte, as you can see there. And they're quite large, so I might trim these. I just have to see whether I can find something where I can unobtrusively put the number and the name on it. We'll see. Anyway, so I may show this again at some point if I decide to modify it. But if not, then you'll see it if I do a reading with it or something. So do you have this deck? This is the Herbcrafters Tarot. Please let me know in the comments down below if you have this, and if you use it as a regular tarot deck, I would love to know that. Or do you use it just for crafting or working with the cards one by one? I would love to know. This is an amazing deck. I am super impressed by the amount of time and effort that Letitia Guthrie and Joanna Powell Colbert went to with this deck. It's not just a run-of-the-mill recreation of the RWS deck. They put a ton of effort into this. I suppose if you are someone who's hugely into herb crafting, then perhaps this is very basic for you. But for someone like me who's not, who's really not, this actually is amazing because it gives me just enough to get me interested. Some crafts I can do right away with it, and that's enough to pique my interest to look more into it. Anyway, let me know. I hope you've enjoyed this. If you did, please do hit that like and subscribe button, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye.